What embarrassing moment did you not stop someone from doing because you wanted to see what happened instead?
Story 1! This one is reversed, as it was my friend laughing maniacally while it happened to me. My college roommate used to work at this chicken restaurant called Chicken Express. We would go eat at the location close to campus. This was not the location that he actually worked at. Pretty often, because it's delicious. So one time he tells me, "Hey man, when you order the tenders, make sure you say Shibby Shibby after you order. That's the code to tell them you work at Chicken E, and they'll hook you up with like 20 tenders." Maybe it was wishful thinking or just plain stupidity, but I totally believed him. We drove through the drive-thru and he was in the back seat. The conversation with the employee went like this. I'll have 2 number 1s with mashed potatoes, Shibby Shibby. Okay, 2 number 1s with mashed potatoes, and what was that last thing? Shibby Shibby? Having trouble hearing you. A what now? Shibby Shibby. Sir, I have no idea what you're trying to say. Do you want to pull around? At which point I look back and see my friend almost turning blue from trying to hold his laughter in. He totally lost it, and I just drove off. I mean, that's a good prank. I like that a lot. I would totally do something like that. It's harmless and it's fun. And I also think that should be the key phrase to get free stuff at drive-thrus. I think I should be able to go to any drive-thru, and if I say Shibby Shibby, I should get something. I don't know, maybe just a free ketchup packet, but come on, Shibby Shibby. Story 2. I was at a convention with a friend and went to the bathroom at break time. He heads into a stall and I go to the urinal. Man walks in right behind me and heads into the other stall, unseen by my friend. Now this man had some problems. Serious noises and smell coming from his stall. And then I hear my friend say, "Dude, what the F? You trying to win a contest?" And he proceeds to let a huge one rip and giggle. Man in other stall does not reply and unfortunately still has his own issues. My friend says, "That all you got? Check this one out, B." I'm crying from holding in the laughter at this point as he lets another loud crap fly. My friend thinks I'm in the other stall and we're alone in there. The other guy probably thinks he's in there with an absolute psycho. Then finally my friend, after getting no response from me, says, "Yeah boy, my crap's so powerful it got you speechless." And he laughs. Other guy is probably terrified. At this point, I start washing my hands so my friend can simultaneously hear the faucet running and crapping still going on in the stall next to him. I say, "Hey Joe, just gonna wash up and head back to the meeting room, meet you there." It was absolutely hilarious how quiet that bathroom got when the realization sunk in for him. By the time they were both done, nobody wanted to come out first. My friend joined me in the meeting room, red-faced with a look that said, "Seriously, dude, could you not have spoken up sooner?" The only thing that could have made that story better is if after, the third taunting, when he was just like, "Oh yeah, it's too powerful, it's got you speechless," if the guy in the other stall just suddenly started going, "Kamehameha!"
Story 3. It happened in high school while watching an educational movie. We were 2 classes tucked into a small classroom to watch it together, so people had to sit on the desk as there wasn't enough chairs. I sat next to my friend's girlfriend on a desk with my friend on a chair in front of us. She stroked her hand through his hair, he takes his hand behind his back and proceeds to stroke her leg. Only thing was, it was my leg. I poked his girlfriend to let her know what was going on. We both knew what had to be done without uttering the words. We let this go on for a good 5 minutes, constantly fighting the urge to laugh out loud. Then I slowly pulled my trouser leg up. He stroked my very furry leg for about half a second before he realized something was very wrong. I'll never forget his face when he turned around to see what was going on. Story 4. I went out to eat hibachi with my family. I think I was 10 or 11 at the time. In addition to giving us sauce trays to dip our food into, they also gave us shaved ginger and a dollop of wasabi. My grandpa grew up during the Great Depression, so he developed a habit of always cleaning his plate. So as he finished his meal, he moved his attention to the side dish. No one else seemed to notice my grandpa staring quizzically at this rather large green lump. Not wanting to waste food, he picked the entire thing up to eat it. I could have clearly stopped him as I had been watching him the entire time, but I also wanted to see what would happen. Well, he about jumped out of his seat, spitting the wasabi onto the table, and started cursing up a storm. I know it was wrong to do, but I still get a little kick out of that memory. Story 5. Last summer, we went camping, and when I tried to use one of the campground coin-operated showers, I was disappointed when I put in $1 and it didn't work. As I waited for the one that did work, the guy came up behind me and said, "Hey, it looks like that shower room is vacant. Are you waiting for this one in particular?" I explained that I had tried, but that it was out of order, so there was now 2 of us waiting for one shower room. Just minutes later, a woman and 3 kids comes by, looks at us waiting in line, and makes a dash for the vacant shower room. One of the kids looked at us and quietly asks if there's a line, and she responds, "Shh!" And the 4 of them go in and switch the door to occupied. Maybe I'm the one who should be embarrassed by not telling her, undressing yourself and 3 kids, inserting quarters that you'll never get back, only to have to redress everyone and sheepishly get in line you should have been in to begin with, is probably a bit of an overkill for the crime of seeing an opportunity and taking it. Anyway, she was there in an even longer line when I got out and glared at me as I went back to my family's camping spot. It definitely made me feel less bad about allowing her to go on a karmic adventure.
Look, the lady had it coming. She was trying to sneak one by you, and the moment that her kid was just like, "I think there's a line," and she's like, "Shh," and try to get him in, it's like, lady, come on. You did it. You brought this upon yourself. Don't do that. Don't teach your kids to do that. Now you're further back in line. Womp womp.
Story 6. My coworker was known to have a temper in the office, and HR had talked to him a number of times about it. Unfortunately, he had a bad day. I normally try to calm him down because he's an alright dude with a wife and a young daughter, but he's just a little too tightly wound. Higher-ups knew I was friends with him, and it started to reflect bad on me, guilt by association. So he gets a bad call. We were in a claims department. One of his claimants started yelling at him. He starts with "mother effing this and that," and I'm like, nope, I can't be seen with him during this tantrum. He ends up getting so worked up that he picks up the office fax machine and throws it, nearly hitting a nice older lady. He walked out like 17 seconds later.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's probably a good call that you stopped associating with this person who... That's going from just having a bit of a short fuse and a temper to being a dangerous human who probably needs to, take some anger management classes.
Story 7. While waiting for a briefing, a room full of Air Force airmen intentionally sat in every chair other than a damaged one they knew would dip very far back when someone sat in it. I arrived and the room was full. The anticipation was palpable. I already knew about the chair. I thought everyone did. So I sat in the only other one available and realized the last person absent at that point was a generally disliked senior NCO, a higher-up sergeant for those of you who don't know. As a junior NCO, I should have taken the initiative to inform said SNCO about the chair when he arrived, and for a second I was going to tell him. Then I didn't. All the airmen erupted in laughter when it happened, and it took every ounce of fortitude for me not to as well. I was definitely LOL on the inside, though. I'm not proud. Story 8. Many years ago, was hanging out with a bunch of friends from college, which we had all graduated from about 5 years before story takes place. We're having dinner. It was 4 married couples and 1 single dude. We all, including both members of all the couples, went to college together. The single guy starts talking about how he ran into this girl, Jennifer, who we all also went to college with, and with whom he had a brief fling with in college. I know that every single man at the table except me slept with Jennifer when we were in college. I also know, or at least very strongly suspect, that A, the other guys are not aware of each other having slept with her, and B, none of the women are aware that all of their husbands have slept with her. So not only do I not stop the single guy from talking about his recent encounter with her, I ask him a lot of questions. How is she? What's she doing? Does she have a boyfriend? Man, was she hot in college? Friend B, don't you think she was hot in college? Friend C, didn't you have a few classes with her? And on and on. For about 10 minutes, or just long enough for every other dude at the table to turn beet red. Meanwhile, single guy has no idea what's going on and is getting more and more confused about why I'm asking him questions about his old girlfriend. Story 9. This past weekend, I was in the car going back home after a weekend trip to Boston with my roommate. He's a really amazing dude, but he's not that great of a driver. He gets lost all the time, he drives slow, and he's just kind of oblivious, yet for various reasons, he was the driver for this trip. He got really mad at me for trying to assume full responsibility of navigation. I said fine and shut up. Sure enough, about 15 minutes later, he zoned down and we missed the exit to get off the Mass Turnpike and immediately ended up in like an extra half hour of traffic trying to turn around. I saw him zone out, I saw him make no effort to get in the right lane, and as soon as we missed it, I calmly pointed it out. He was very embarrassed and mad at himself.
I don't get why some people can't just admit that they're bad when it comes to driving in directions. I've lived in this area of Minneapolis, St. Paul for years, and every day that I go driving, I'm using Google Maps and stuff to get where I'm going because I'm like this person where I will just miss exits that I've gone on 100 times or just zone out completely. And if other people are like, do you want me to do navigation or stuff? I'm immediately like, please, yes.
Story 10. In high school, I took Algebra 1A and 1B, math split up into a 2-year course instead of one. It got a lot of the lazy kids. I took it because math is harder for me. Anyway, one of the kids in the class was trying to be all cool. How he was doing it, of course, was incredibly dumb. Specifically, he was trying to be a bad butt by spraying breath spray up his nose. You know, the kind that you spray twice onto your tongue. It should also be stated that I was in complete and utter loser in high school. So he's trying to be all cool, spraying the stuff up his nose. I look at him and just say, Corey, you're supposed to inhale while spraying. Now that his coolness was challenged, he did it. His face turned beet red, him crying and slamming his head on the desk in pain for 15 minutes as a result was worth it. Story 11. I let my drunk friend hit on a woman I knew was married in a bar that the woman's husband owned, while said husband was watching from behind the bar. He got out 3 words into, hey baby, come here often, style pickup line before the husband swooped over and macked on his wife. My friend asked me why I didn't tell him, and I told him I figured the ring and the picture of the husband and wife bar owners on the wall should have been enough. Guess not. Story 12. A friend of mine in college had a long-distance relationship, 5-hour drive. He always spoke to his girlfriend and told her lies about going out and what time he got to his apartment, etc. Even though I believe he genuinely loved her and cared for her a lot, he cheated on her whenever he had an opportunity. One day at a party where he wasn't supposed to be there with this girl, mutual friend of us, with a brand new Canon camera taking pictures of everything. That night he was making out with a girl while a little drunk and got in the frame of the pictures 2 times in the background. During the night, this dude talks to the girl and convinces her to erase any pictures that had him in it. All 3 of us sit together and start erasing pictures of him. I spot one of the pictures where he's in the background making out and stay quiet. The next day, his girlfriend logs into Facebook and spots 2 pictures where he's making out in the background with another girl and ends their relationship. I broke a bro code and I'm not proud, but F people who cheat.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you one bit. Even if you were really good friends with that person and not at all friends with his girlfriend, if the person's gonna cheat, don't aid and abet them. Like, I'm sorry. If you're gonna do that kind of crap, then you're gonna get caught. I mean, frankly, the fact that you didn't just go to the girlfriend and be like, hey, he's being crappy, or confront him about it, like, I know that that's iffy territory and people say like, oh, it's not your business, da-da-da. Fine, but don't help them. Let them put the nail in their own coffin.
Story 13. My wife and I decided to hang out with some friends one night and we noticed a new guy join the group. He seemed nice, but a little off. Turned out to be a total stalker who always carried a backpack. We nicknamed it the R-Kit. Anyway, we were playing some games and this guy manages to cut his hand wide open. Since no one really knows the guy, I offered to take him to the hospital. My wife and I jump in the car and I let him sit in the front seat. He seems super happy about my wife riding along with us and starts chatting with her. I keep peeking in the mirror, realizing he's totally interested in my wife, and my wife is trying to keep a straight face. She lets him flirt, trying to be nice and not embarrass him as I drive in silence until we get to the hospital. He hops out and is trying to make plans with my wife to go out to dinner or a movie, and she's dropping hints like flashing her ring and telling him she's busy. Finally, he's like, "If you don't want to go out, just say so." I laugh and tell him I don't let my wife go on dates without me. He got beet red and told us he'd find his own way home. I think I enjoyed watching the boost of confidence it gave my wife the most. I can tell her she's amazing all the time, but stuff like that is proof. Story 14. Coworker, let's call him John, got a raspberry pie delivered to the office and was talking about it at lunch. Other coworker, let's call him Jim, legit thought he was talking about desserts. He thought it was strange that a pie would be delivered by mail, but was still excited to try it. Everybody except Jim knew that it was the mini computer, not a pie, but John still kept up the ruse. We all still wanted to see the pie anyways, so we went back to John's office for the unboxing. Jim even showed up with disposable plates and cutlery. The reveal was pretty hilarious. Story 15. I work in youth corrections. The facility I'm in has a pool table, and if the guys are doing good, they can play. There's a bench in the pool room that's ridiculously poorly designed. If you don't sit dead center, it'll tip you off to either side. There's an unspoken rule between staff and veteran cadets that we never inform new residents or staff of that bench. It's hilarious.
People really like getting each other with bad seats. Folks, be careful whenever your friends, just let you sit somewhere without saying something. Apparently, we're all out to get each other's tailbones bruised.
Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.